Okay, so today I'm going to announce the finale of the Four Horsemen gimmick deck that I was doing, which almost doesn't count as a gimmick deck because it has too much of a built-in win condition. That'd be the sort of thing you'd consider meta, even though it's not now, and there's not really any big improvement that I could see that you could really do with it. Maybe I just didn't think of it. Right, like there might be some new interaction that people would do with it to make it substantially better and easier to accomplish. In fact, the other horseman was really annoying, but then again, you're probably not meant to play as it with Paladin. I'm just doing that for the gimmickry of combining the two together. That's often how my gimmicks work. Like, oh, I'm playing some meta modern imp deck, right, like in Castle Nathria, but then I go to have the old Galacron hero, even though it has nothing to do with that, but oh, they both involve imps, so I'll do it for that reason alone. But the reality is that I couldn't think of a very fun gimmick deck for Paladins, just anything throughout the history of the game that I really find fun or interesting. And again, I never played Paladins really that much, but that's besides the point, right? So I tried to do the Four Horsemen, which was at least moderately fun, and then what we end up getting into is basically, why are they giving me so many free things all of a sudden? They would give me the ability to play as that. So now I'm still going to continue to play as Paladin. I thought that might be the finale, but I thought that wasn't really satisfying enough. So now instead, or what I could do is the permadeath sort of back and forth between the two, where I decide to basically say, okay, I'll play as the Four Horsemen until I lose, and then I'll play as Galvadon until I lose. I'll try that as the other fun one. So basically, you try to buff up. Hold on a second. You try to buff up Galvadon, and by doing that, you allow yourself to basically one-shot the opponent or something like that. It's not a card that I ever really use very much, but it seems like a fun idea. So, and what's funny is I started off doing this Four Horsemen thing with the Galvadon quest in there, actually, and at first I forgot that it was even part of a quest. I couldn't remember how you got it or anything. So like I was struggling, like, where the fuck is Galvadon? I keep looking in the collection, right? I'm searching up Galvadon, but it doesn't actually show up, so you have to look up the quest, which I forget what the name of it is. And so the whole idea is that I started off with that quest in this deck itself just so that you could use it as a trigger for the guy who gives you the coin. And so that relevance is, obviously I wasn't actually getting the effect, or I didn't have enough buffs to actually trigger it. So let me see that, and then maybe if there's some other Paladin card that's like super fun. But what I find irritating about this is that, again, it's not even about whether the deck's good or not, right? That's the whole point. I'll get Galvadon out there, but, or a good example is what's coming up like with mages, for example. The fact that you have, I might do like a Yogg Saron little gimmick thing or something. And so the reality is that you're trying to, spin the wheel with Yogg and all these kind of crazy interactions and cast as many infinite random spells as you want. But it doesn't matter because, again, you're doing it just for that fun factor. You're not actually trying to win, or again, you are trying to win to the best of your ability still, or sometimes I guess I play for gimmicks too, even if it means I'll do worse. But the bigger picture is just that you're able to not really say that winning is your biggest priority. You're trying to play for a gimmick, or play within a gimmick and try to win with that. So that's kind of more important with this series of what I'm doing. Yeah, I don't even have to make Galvadon or the quest, but I have to just make a deck that's built around buffs. And I do have a decent amount of Paladin cards anyway, but let me just see what I can do. And I could do that permadeath between the two, but at least I would lead with this one. That's actually not a bad idea, or that's what I was doing earlier in this gauntlet, but then I kind of felt like I didn't have enough time or something. I almost wish I had a different kind of cool avatar for the Paladin, though. For so many of these, it's given me a chance to sort of flex one that I wasted money on, or one that came about at just the right time. Like when I was doing the Hunter gimmick deck, I did this Ranger Sylvanas, the 3D portrait. Or when I was doing Shaman just before this, I was doing the Thirst Trap Nerzul, where like he doesn't have a shirt on. So I do have a very substantial amount of dust, so it almost makes me feel bad if I don't do this. Maybe we should make it like all adapt based. Right, like this seems very fitting, even though it would be sort of redundant. Like you could do the same adapt twice, but some of that wouldn't even do anything. And of course, my favorite would be elusive, but then again, I just love that mechanic, period. It's not really for that reason. So let's try to play into this a little bit. Reduce the cost of Librams. Okay, anything I don't care so much about secrets. I almost wanted to do something with Mysterious Challenger, even though I don't really find him fun. It would just be like a good sort of irritating troll thing to do. But, or like I'll make a deck with every single fucking paladin secret in the game and just do that as an ultimate troll. Discover a secret weapon or divine shield minion. Okay, so we have these as buffs. Let me see. You could do this, I guess. Making 2 of all these maybe isn't the best idea, but give a random friendly minion. So I think you have to cast it directly on a minion. Cast a random paladin secret. Give another character divine shield. Give him. Some of these are just shitty though. Like you wouldn't really want to do this, right? I don't want to overcommit. Give a minion with divine shield +2/+3. Give your hero no. Add a random minion. Discover a dragon. After my favorite card in this deck so far has been one that has nothing to do with it. Just that chick who gives you like a random location from the future that often turns out to be pretty damn good value in and of itself. Here, let me try to move my chat so I can actually see it. Sometimes this is hard to do. This is like a little later than I like to stream too, but then again, it's not really that late. It's just, hang on. So maybe I could make both of those, and then we'll still continue to do this. So we'll do the Paladin for the rest of the month. Then we'll move on to Mage, which I can't decide for Mage whether it should be like some sort of Yogg-Saron random spell gauntlet type thing, or the elusive evasive thing that I already basically did with Druid, just with a little different twist. It would be a shame not to do that one. That's one of my favorite classic old school gimmick sort of things I would do, which again wasn't even that good and didn't even have that much identity at the time. That was kind of the point, because that was even before Galvadon's expansion came out, so you were really trying to push the limits of what you could do with limiting their spells. So it would have like Nerubian Unraveler, and it would have like Lotheb, and it would have whatever elusive things were in the game, which again there weren't really that many, and like counterspell and stuff, so you were really kind of pushing that point. After your opponent plays 3 cards, okay, I don't care about the secrets right now, but it would be intriguing. Like, what if I make a 30 secret deck? And the problem is, of course, you won't have any minions to get a lot of the effects from it. So restore 2 health. Would this actually work with it is the question. If you use all 10 mana, it's called Lunch Special. I'm intrigued by that, actually. First of all, what is the quest even fucking called? Because I couldn't remember that in the first place. The last Kaleidosaur. Cast 5 spells on your minions. I would think this would actually work, which makes it fascinating. You are casting a spell on a minion, right? That is actually interesting. That might be one of the best interactions that we just discovered that nobody's probably ever done before, because nobody gives a shit to play this in this day and age, but... or it's always nice when, again, not only does a cosmetic align, like they released that Ner'zhul right around when I was playing Shaman anyway, so it's a great excuse to waste money on it, but what you have is also if there's like a card from the newest expansion that happens to work that way too, right, that happens to give you something that's actually relevant, like Wave of Nostalgia was good for that. Attack of all enemy minions to 1. Discover Paladin weapon from the past. Yeah, most Paladin cards aren't really that exciting. Like, they have a good theme to them with the buffs and everything, but I'm just not really super intrigued by this somehow. After you summon a minion while it's attack, you have a Divine Shield and Rush, holding a dragon. Deal 1 damage to all enemy minions, which again is very perfectly fine for quality purposes. Enemy minions cost 5 more. Your healing is doubled. I don't really care too much about healing. Set a minion's health to 3. That could be another gimmick. Just have every secret in the history of the game, or have every heal for a paladin in the history of the game. Make a holy paladin deck. Minions attack and health to 3. I guess you could theoretically use that on your own thing, but you have a friendly minion +3, +2 attack. Don't really care. Discover a card. I don't really care too much about that. Draw a card. Double this into your deck. Okay, let's just kind of go quickly here. It doesn't have to be like optimal, but, or again, would this really count? Because after you cast a holy spell on this, cast again on another friendly minion. I don't know if that would count towards the effect for the second one. It probably should. Restore 3 health to upgrade, tradable, don't really care. Give a minion +1/+1. Or yeah, this would almost make it easy for you to kind of just keep doing the same one over and over. So what some of these cards do is they allow you to basically minimize the number of spells you actually have to have in your deck, because you allow yourself to, I don't really like that one, but you allow yourself to keep playing the same one over and over, so you don't have to worry about it. Give minion Divine Shield. This is where I'm kind of too lazy or too time constrained. I like to just go in and just play something, but then I waste the whole episode just building a deck. Or like you could have like every single Divine Shield minion in the game, or at least from a Paladin, right? Assuming you wouldn't be able to fit them all really otherwise. Restore 3 health, 2 4/4 dragons, lowest health, whatever. All these are minions. Your secrets trigger twice. That is actually interesting. Why have I never seen this card in the history of the game? I've never seen anybody play this. I've never seen it myself. Is this a new card? Rise of Shadows? No. That is so weird. I've never seen this card, I don't think. Rise of Shadows. What the fuck? Maybe I just don't remember it, but I'd be shy. You know, there's certain golden gem type things, and that could be fun to use. Like, most of my secrets, though, like, how would that work with Noble Sacrifice? It'll summon 2 1/2s, but only one of them will absorb the hit, or they'll both absorb it? I don't get it. Give a dragon +3/+3. Destroy all minions. Okay. I mean, it's a good problem to have that there's so many cards, but a lot of it ends up becoming redundant. So you're trying to get Galvadon, you're trying to basically one-shot them with that, which you probably won't even be able to do, honestly, because, you know, even if you give it Wind Fury and attack or something, it might still not be enough, or some of the effects you get won't even be that good, like, oh, you'll get Lifesteal or something, like, who cares? You want it to just be your finisher play. You got to give it Stealth, though, for sure. Myrmidon. After you cast a spell, one of my favorite classes in Fire Emblem, where, you know, like Mia is a Myrmidon. Has nothing to do with being a Naga, though. Like, you know, you should be called a Naga Myrmidon. Cast a spell on this minion, draw a card. That actually synergizes pretty well, because you could just, like, you know, make a chain of it. Set of minions, health and attack. Okay. Don't really care. Draw 2 1-health minions. +3/+3. This thing is actually a pretty good buff, all things considered. Well, given how old it is, maybe it makes it seem overrated, but if you're holding a holy spell, you gain Divine Shield and Taunt. Don't care about that. If your deck started with no duplicates, get a permanent Mirage. I forget how this exactly works. What does that mean? A Mirage of what, though? At the start of your turn, transform a copy of minion in your deck that stays in your hand. I don't know exactly what this would have been used for. I mean, if you had Galvadon in your deck, I might consider it, but what good would it do for me here? You'd have to have a very specific... There might be like a very... You wait till the end of the game and you know you only have like one big minion left, but how would you guarantee that you have it? You'll have to have some other effect that shuffles it back into the deck, but if you do that, then it's like, you know, you'll get a 10/10 and you can keep doing it. But then again, you would have to make sure you don't draw into it either. Give your hero Divine Shield. For the rest of the game, oh shit, this is kind of cool. Give a Silverhand Recruit +3/+3. I mean, you wouldn't expect there to be too many buffs for this high of a cost, nor would it really be that efficient to play them, even if you did. Blessing of Kings, you almost feel like you have to have just for the, whatever, the old school nature of it, but you're not really, after you summon a minion, you give it +2/+2. That's just like an overall effect. Which there aren't too many cards really like that have this ongoing, I forget what that's even called, like where it has that little symbol where it lasts like a couple turns. Cast a spell, lifesteal, +1. You know, paladins might be one of the most authentic classes when it comes to that. Like their mechanics are very tried and true to the same thing, almost to the point where it's boring. They're always about buffing, they're always about summoning the little mini minions, and they're always about healing. Like that's always a Divine Shield. That's always what they've been about, and they kind of don't break out of that too strongly. Set each player to 10 mana crystals. Now, would that help me with what I have here or not? I'd love to see like what exactly this was used for. Even it's a cool card. So 4 mana 8/8. You know, one-upping the shaman with the fucking Flame Wreath Faceless, which everybody always says 4 mana 7/7, but a lot of people forget or don't even know what the card is called because it's not the best name, right? It's not a very catchy or easy name. Flame Wreath Faceless. I like it, but I don't get what it has to do with this or really anything. Just see if there's another good buff, and that's pretty much all I want to do. Give a minion +8/+8. Can't attack. I mean, that is kind of cool. In fact, if you do that on Galvadon itself, while he's in stealth, right, then you just win the game because, you know, how are they going to get rid of him even? They'll be like, destroy a random minion that it doesn't have to target it. But, you know, that would be very deflating. You got to let it last at least one turn, or I don't think an adapt that you can get is actually charge, or maybe it is, I forget. But that would be the most important. Well, maybe that's the whole fucking point. But I kind of forgot because they tried to phase out that so much. They tried to phase out charge as a mechanic, so give all minions hand +2/+2, silver hand recruits. For the rest of the game, after silver hand recruit, after you summon a silver hand recruit, give a divine shield. Summon an 8/8 Robosaur. Now this is almost kind of obligatory because what you would do is all these buffs would make a lot of sense for that one. Mysterious Challenger, transform all 1-cost cards in your deck. Okay. Give your minions Divine Shield. That's actually kind of a bad value card. When is that from? Legacy. I mean, I guess you might say, oh, how do I not know these cards better? Because some of them are so old, but I never really played Paladin that much, so why should I know them? After this attacks, turn it into a location. Give your Murlocs Divine Shield. Okay, attack and health minions. I mean, this mechanic is almost overdone. This is obviously a new card, Rogue Tourist. Your spells that cost 2 or less cast twice. How would that work with like a secret though? Because you can only have one of each secret, right? So it wouldn't do anything. If your deck has no neutral cards, draw a minion of each type. Set a minion's attack and health to this one. Okay. How many would I have that? I mean, that would work for the buff purpose too, I guess. If you decide to, you know, double up. Get 8 3/2 bandits with bonus effects. Any that can't fit in your hand. Like, why is this even a paladin card though? What do paladins have to do with being bandits? Any that can't fit in your hand, summon instead. That could be a rogue card or something. Go over a 6-cost minion. Okay. Then all other minions 2 turns in the future. See, I don't know how that would work with Galvadon. Does that mean that it would come back? Like, I would do the attack with a Wind Fury, and then if that's not enough to kill him, set a minion's stats to 7/14. I mean, there's a certain fun factor to it, but you know, some of these things are just dumb. Because if I do that to him, I don't know if that's even really worth it. So I'm gonna 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 2, 4, and 4, 8. Resurrect 3 friendly minions. Friendly max. Okay, again, none of these are really gonna be buffs. And I was using obviously, what's her name again? Cariel, who I think is a character that's maybe made up just for this game. I always give them the benefit of the doubt, like, oh, it must be some lore character I just don't know about and haven't heard of because I stopped playing after Wrath. Right, but then it turns out like Rokara, oh, it must have been some NPC in Alteric Valley that I just missed or just forgot about. But then it turns out they're not even real at all. When do we get a card of the Ishnu Allah guy that everybody was such a big fan of, and the guy makes like a whole video about it? After attacks a minion, okay. Front line, summon a minion. Each man's deck, restore 8 health, summon an 8/8. See, now that restore 8 health, you could do to a minion too. It doesn't say restore 8 health to you. 1 less for each paladin card you played this game. Paladin Divine Shield costs 1 less for each other card in your hand. Restore. I kind of like this as a troll sort of play, just to drag it out so much. But again, it's not something that really suits paladins as much, or I don't know what exactly I'd be playing for. +4/+4, 1 less for each mana you spend on holy spells. This probably could be pretty good. Costs 1 less for each. Yeah, you know what, dude? Just because I don't fucking know what I'm doing with this, let's only do paladin cards. But what was the thing that rewarded me for doing that? Paladin. What was the one that would say if you don't have any neutral cards? It's an effect that I probably don't care about. No neutral cards, add 5 random paladin cards to your hand. I mean, that's cool, but you're going to kind of wait too long to do this. I'm trying to make it interesting, you know, to reward myself for some of this, but in ways that doesn't even have anything else to do with that. Cost 1 less for each spell you've cast on a random. You've cast on friendly characters this game, which of course is what this is all about. Whenever your hero attacks a minion, says has a 3/3. You summon a minion from deck, give a taunt, divine shield. Okay, let's just go with what we have here. But yeah, I am very lazy with deck building, and I often don't have a ton of resources. Like, I just wasted pretty much everything that I have. Do you have adapt? Maybe I'll stick to one of each. Well, I don't know. Let me see, because I'm gonna end up having too many if I do this. Hand of protection. This is pretty cool because of the double that you can do it twice. And you can always do a negative buff on your shit too. Or what I'm going to end up not doing then is I'm not going to have actual minions. This one is so good because you can just, you know, you could theoretically get the thing done in like one turn just for that alone. Let me see. Give your minions rush, restore 4 health. Let's see. Right, I tend to have a bias towards only keeping 1 copy of each card because of the simple fact that just for the variety of it. So maybe I would do it for that reason alone, but your opponent's spell costs 2 more. They'll have to decide on what to do with respect to the minions themselves, right? Which minions I actually want in here. The Myrmidon is pretty good for this purpose. That chick I guess I'll just use again. Give them a couple outlaws. Timeout, obviously we're using in the other deck, but it doesn't make much sense here. Blessing of Kings seems kind of dumb, but I'll still do it. Whenever friendly minion attacks, gets +2/+1. Draw your lowest cost card, highest cost card. I'm not sure if that really matters because you're going to start with the quest anyway. Give a minion +8/+8. Okay, I kind of have too many of these. Like, how many do you really have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's not going to be super clean, actually, now that I think about it. Give a minion +2/+2, deals attack damage to all other minions. That could be okay, I guess. I didn't even think of that. Resurrect 3 friendly minions. This one kind of has to do with it a little bit. Give a random. So when it's random, it's not going to be the same thing. This one's kind of obligatory. 2, 3, 4. This thing's kind of good. This is okay. This I was using there. Which this thing they buff like fucking crazy, right? I forget even what it originally was, but it didn't have taunt, and it didn't have quite that statting either. Add a copy of each spell you cast on friendly characters this game to your hand, which again, you could do them all on Galacron. I keep calling him Galacron. Galvadon. If your deck has no neutral card... Oh, shit. I forgot about that one. Okay, so this is turning into something totally different, I guess. That has nothing to do with just what I'm doing, but it's still... In fact, I almost want to put that one in there too, but it doesn't make sense. Right, this has a lot of shit that has nothing to do with actual Galvadon, but he's going to be in there anyway. But it's a lot of stuff that's rewarding you for only having Paladin cards, and it's a lot of stuff that has rewarding you for casting spells, which is a lot of what this is about. So the one thing you'll realize in this deck is the reason why it's completely shit is why. Because I have no actual fucking minions in here. Like, I have nothing. So I need some low-cost minions, clearly. I mean, these would work pretty well with the buffs, but I don't know if it's really worth it. If your deck has no neutral cards, and there's a lot of these that have to do with that. Give all minions in your hand +1/+1. Well, unfortunately, I don't have too many minions at all. Draw a holy spell, divine shield. I mean, we're gonna have so many that it almost becomes redundant, but dredge if it's a minion. Give it this. Okay, I don't want that. Draw a minion. Okay, we could definitely badly use that. Discover a dragon. I mean, some of this shit is just totally random. Or what we don't have then in any form is removal. Next holy spell costs 2 less. And maybe 1 more minion. Draw a spell that costs 3 or less. It costs 0 this turn. If you excavated twice. Okay, let's just go with that. And I can't claim to really understand it, but it gets a couple themes across. And we do have a lot of cards that I've either never used before or just have very specific purposes, like whatever, just stuff that's going to be, again, I have no neutral cards. I have every spell you play, this costs less. The problem is that I don't have enough low-cost spells, or I don't have enough minions, and I have some of these really fancy ones that... Like, I'm even fine with that, because we're not going to get too many minions, so I kind of overcommit and overdo it, which is the whole point of these gimmick decks all the time. But 5 spells on your minions, like, it's not a very hard condition to reach, but somehow, with how inefficient I am, and again, especially with some of them that you can play over and over, right, like with the echo effect, even though I don't think that one actually says echo, but you can still play it, I mean, as many times as you want the same turn. You could play it 5 times and that would work. And a lot of this stuff is cool just because it rewards me for, you know, hard committing to paladin cards, which I wasn't even intending to do, but I don't know what else I would want that would matter. Like, if the whole point is just to buff stuff, why do I care about neutral cards? I would just do it for minions. Okay, a little rocky start, but now I'm complaining I don't have enough minions, but now we're not getting any spells. This, I haven't really seen how this effect works. Deck has no neutral cards. Like, this is a cool value, but you might not get to this point, or you'll already be dead by then or something. Yeah, we can still treat it that way, where if I lose as this, I'll play as the 4 Horsemen one, but clearly I shouldn't lose this anyway, so we can still keep that in the rotation. So every episode can be like that. Draw a spell, so I should probably wait. Give minions in your hand +1/+1, okay. We have a lot of kind of high cost things, I guess, that I'm underestimating, but that's the whole point, is that I'm not going to get to that point in a lot of these games where I'm just not going to be doing anything then half the game. And even these buffs are not going to end up being all that good, really. Damn it, I'm even saying I have too many buffs, but maybe I just underestimated my curve. I have a ton of minions, they're just all unplayable and super high cost. I've had this weird bug, like, where my OBS keeps crashing and dropping frames when I try to stream with an Ethernet, but when I do it on Wi-Fi, it's fine. I don't know what it is. It must be something with OBS. I was at my other place too, and it was doing it there, so it's not the internet itself. After you hear attacks, gains +1 spell damage this turn. And again, you can't judge the quality of a deck by playing against shitty silver rank 7 players, but some of the stuff we should save. Discover a dragon, draw a holy spell. Nefarian, if you're holding a dragon, that's just a fun card, I guess, in general. Again, the number 1 point is fun factor above anything else, above efficiency, above cohesiveness. Hard commit to a mechanic. You see, then when you win, you're winning on your own terms, or it's like so iconic because, you know, oh, you frustrated them because you hard countered spells and everything had elusive, etc., etc. So that ends up making it feel satisfying, even if you're not winning every game, or you know, whatever, it's not a good deck. The fact that you hard commit to something is itself fun. Even if you don't enjoy that thing in a certain sense, you can enjoy it, like, you know, you're gonna be, I don't know, even if I don't entirely enjoy the mechanic, I'll find it fun because, I mean, I guess this works for me just because of the hard commitment itself. Maybe that was an overkill, but now I just have to finish the buffs, which apparently, I don't know, it's just not working out. In a normal paced game, if I'm going against an actual good deck, I neither put up good board presence, nor did I put up enough buffs, so this just doesn't make any fucking sense at all. But again, there are certain cards that are going to reward me here anyway. Deck has no neutral cards, 3 legendary invitations, and a copy of each spell, which again, I haven't done much of that. I should probably do the Countess. And the reason why is because you won't even have room for that. You gotta wait till you burn out with this one, but it doesn't matter because you will probably lose before that, so it's not gonna help me much. Not even that I don't enjoy trying to build decks, it's just not something I feel like doing with this amount of time, where my episodes are already short and I'm playing like an average of an hour a week, right? So I don't want to net deck a gimmick fucking fun deck either, but I would love to hear what people actually have to say about that. Like, what are the most fun paladin decks by whatever criteria you want to measure? And the answer is there really aren't many that come to mind. So we'll go ahead, we'll get the 3 invitations, discover legendary minion from another class. It costs 0. Okay. Whenever hero takes damage, summon 6/6 another Drake. Level 10 random legendary minions in your deck. They cost 1. Copy left and right most cost cards in your hand. That has a certain I should have just done it. That has a certain staying power to it. This is one of those power creep type of cards, right? The original Aviana did something else that was like you had to work for it really hard. All your minions cost 1, so you have to already have them in your hand and do like a combo type of thing, and you gotta wait a turn because she costs like 9. I mean, I guess this you would have to consider her cost normally, but it's just like it's doing too much for you for too little work. So you could play all 3 of these legendaries in one shot, and yeah, nice math. Like, was that really worth it? Setting minion stats to 714. I guess we can just keep doing this. Give me something that'll give me some removal. Double the attack and health of all minions in your hand. Destroy all damage minions, which I can't really find a way to do that. You play an elemental last turn, summon an evocation, choose a minion, become a 4/4 copy, and silence it. Let me see. Let me double everything first. Then do this. Become a 4/4 copy, I guess, even though that's going to fuck up the own effect that I just worked for. And then we get to do even this as sort of an AoE protection type of thing. Although now the health value of that is going to be a little bonkers. So again, even if I win this, it's because of totally unrelated effects to what I'm trying to do. And it's ridiculous that it's this hard for me to... This is like a control Galvadon type thing. You're not really doing it for Galvadon. If you happen to get him in the course of dragging the game out or whatever you're trying to do, then it's just a net positive. But like, look at all the other shit going on. You know, again, with all the paladin, if you don't have any paladin cards, I don't find that kind of mechanic very fun because it's just sort of limiting and stupid. Because any class could do that then. Oh, you know, if you don't have any rogue cards as a rogue, you get, you know, at least it makes more sense on a rogue or a priest because that's what they're kind of designed to do, that they sort of steal cards from other classes. But with a paladin or, again, hunter, mage or something, what value is that? It's just kind of random because what I don't have with this is AoE. But no, it's just random and not really very satisfying. Okay, that's 16. 1 less for each mana you spend on spells. Divine Shield, Taunt. Give a minion +8/+8. I guess that's fine. So let's see what we got. This is a battle cry, doesn't really matter. This is spell burst. This is an ongoing effect. I mean, this is at least a fun board that we've gotten to. I mean, you can win certain games to a certain extent in this way. I can't tell whether their deck is actually good or not, though. They've pulled out a couple interesting things, but I don't know. This egg is pretty nasty, though, because you wouldn't even want to kill it. Give your minion... Oh, shit, they do have some staying power, like I was just giving him credit for. And that's... Oh, wow, what a synergy, because the ones he summoned, right, were gonna be good, even though they're lower cost. or lower statted, so now you get the full effect from them next turn. Your next holy spell costs 2 less. This isn't even that well statted of a minion though, that's the thing. Add 5 pounding cards to your hand. Which I could do now. Add a copy of each spell.
Impurity will not be tolerated.
I'm getting certain good value from this, there's no question. Wait. What? If your deck has no neutral cards. Oh, you know what? It's because I shuffled. It's because I shuffled stuff in. That's my bad. My deck didn't have any, but I shuffled into the 10 legendaries, so obviously that would have done something. Best viewers, they say, like these bots. Or what is it? Like cheap viewers, but those are contradictory. Like the best viewers aren't going to be cheap and stingy. Cheap viewers would mean they wouldn't want to sub because they're stingy, right? That's what cheap means. Okay, so what we have to do is... Man, we almost forget the Galvadon's waiting in the wings. Like, what the fuck? You could obviously get some of these buffs back with this, but... Okay, so I messed up this synergy at least. I mean, she's still not badly statted. This guy's kind of a buzzkill, though. For all the work you put in, he's only a 7-5. I mean, he's got some good other effects, but... Bro, it's actually going to come down to summoning this guy. Adapt 5 times. Again, can one of the adapts be charged, though? That's what I want to know. Because that's the only way it's good. Or I guess it'll be stealth. So either it's stealth or charge. I don't think you can get charge. But if you can get stealth, then you can wait till the next turn and have Wind Fury and just finish them off and buff them with all the other shit that you have. Okay, so now we can ignore the stupid ass totems and we can clearly decide to you'll probably just win outright, you know, without even needing to worry about this. It almost makes me want to BM them to the extent that I give your other minions. Yeah, I'm kind of almost just BMing him now because I could have already done that and it could have been... You are seeing some pretty sick values. It almost makes me want to put Lorthamar in here, but why are some of these values this way? It's just because... Well, I guess because of the buffs, but also because of the simple fact that I got the Emerus just totally randomly. You can't rely on that. But that is at least in the spirit of buffing. So I do want to see Galvadon here. But this game could take a fucking hour alone. Like, you do an hour-long episode, and if you're playing, you know, I play an hour once a week, and that entire hour could be soaked up just by playing one fucking game if I'm playing, like, Control, playing against the Priest, like, back in the day and certain things. I guess I'm doing that just for the simple reason that I want to get the buffs. Let me try to do a certain amount here just for the simple fact of just trying to finish this off. Some of these are the legendaries that cost 1. So the invitations are pretty fun for that. So yeah, all I want to do is see this play out, but then he's going to cuck me by not letting me play. Or wait, no, he's right there. He's not going to give me a room to play it. Like, this is the same thing that happened with the 4 Horsemen, where, like, I'd be trying to BM them just like, I want to win, but I want to win with the win condition, obviously. But then what happens? Oh, I don't have enough space, and then they don't give me anything to trade in, so they get a moral... Okay. They get a moral victory because they deny me that. So pretend the win condition is you have to win with Galvadon. Of course, if they resign, you don't have a choice, but... I always consider this, like, this proves it's a bot, because... Why would you even keep playing after I'm BMing you? You would just resign. Or this proves that I'm a bot, because wouldn't I just go for the win then? I'm a bot that's designed to BM. Or I'm just so bad that I can't figure out that I actually have lethal, so I'll keep wasting time. A lot of the strategies, like with heroic knacks or whatever, had to do with that too. In this game, like, you know, oh, the AI would sometimes just be so bad. So if they played it optimally, they would actually be objectively unbeatable. Bro, just let me play Galvadon, and you might think, oh, charge would be too overpowered, but it's almost fair that you should get it because of the simple fact that we get Iron Juggernaut. Holy shit, dude. Now we can give it some crazy buff too on top of this. You can give it Wind Fury. You can give it... If I gave it Wind Fury again, would you get double Wind Fury? I'm curious. I should have taken the stealth when I had the chance here. I'm not really too impressed with that, but give it +8/+8, and that's the perfect combo finisher for this as well.
It's time to test your metal.
Right, so what you can do now is realize that this would be a 1919 that, again, how would you normally get rid of that? There's certain cards that'll just destroy random stuff on the board, like the whatever warlocks have cards like that. Discard your hand, and for every card discarded or whatever, destroy a minion on your side. For everyone destroyed, destroy one of theirs. So things that just randomly destroy stuff like that. But a proper AoE isn't going to do enough damage, so
A charming composition.
that would be pretty sick. So again, the fact that he only costs 5 makes it very easy to buff him as well, on top of everything else. The most important one that you get is stealth. So if they can't deal with it, which reasonably certain decks might not be able to deal with it on average, but let's just try to see how high we can get his value. I guess that's good enough. So you could have done obviously an OTK there within reason, even if he was at full health, even if he had some other defenses. So that was pretty fun, I guess. Let's try another one. It just took kind of entirely too long to actually get that shit to play out. Yeah, the whole time we just waste on one game and doing a fucking and just building the deck overall.
Uther versus Gul'dan.
Your soul
Okay, light versus shadow matchup.
will fight with honor.
Okay, this is fine. She's fine just because I like her as a card, even though it has nothing to do with the deck. But I guess just a good excuse to play it because it is a paladin card. That's almost one that feels like it wouldn't have to be a paladin card. It could just be a neutral and just let you mess around and play around with the, you know, other locations. So I had some trouble actually getting the 5 buffs, even though I have a good amount of buffs in here. There, some of them are a little too high cost or something. Yeah, the biggest time I've used the term snake oil on my stream since returning is referring to chess players who try to always act like they have all the answers, or they're trying to tutor you, or they're trying to... What is the point of that? +3/+3 until next turn. But why? Why would that even be worth it? It's not that big of a deal because you got a very little benefit from that. What the fuck is that? That's like bootleg, what's it called? Overwhelming power or something. Power overwhelming. Right, where it kills them, so this one doesn't, but this just lasts a turn, but that's still the same concept, but better, because obviously...
Really? It's not too heavy.
If you felt that, you know, power overwhelming would give it one more attack and health, but it would kill it, so it doesn't matter. Right, whereas here, oh, it only lasts a turn, but then it would, that minion would only last a turn with power overwhelming because it would die afterwards. Bring the environment, which the one that lets you summon dragons is really good. Draw 2 cards. We didn't get it though. Real size on the bottom of there. We could have given the buff of the card draw, but I'm waiting for some reason. We can put that out there. Give a friendly minion +2/+2, deals damage to all other minions.
One dose solves any
Deal 4 damage. So wait, why would you do it like that? Oh, of course. What the fuck? When this player discarded to deal 4 damage. Okay. Well, I think I'm just dead already. Draw a spell that costs 3 or less, cost 0 this turn. I don't think I'm going to have much that's defensive in mind, but it won't cost 0 every time, will it? It would have been cool to see how that would play out with respect to, you know, being able to basically, yes, of course, the perfect synergy with this, which we have seen this sort of thing before, but I'm just kind of surprised by it. So I should lose to that alone, or I think he's already used up most of them, though. All spells cost 2 less than have lifesteal. You get 2 barrels of sludge. Okay, still 4. Not the end of the world, so what can you do? Oh, shit. I don't know why I thought they still cost 2. And you get another one just to be on me. Whatever, this one seems kind of interesting. I like that one invitation card and all the emphasis on basically being able to now we could go back and play this one since we lost to that and sort of rotate between the two, or not even rotate, like every episode ends when I lose with both of them, or you know, maybe I just won't lose, so that's fine. But the point is that you can kind of go between them and say, okay, I'll play as each one until I lose, so there's no reason to get rid of this one entirely. But no, I haven't won a game because of the 8 horsemen yet, and by that I mean the 8 horsemen with respect to you know, or not even that you would do all 8 at once, but the neutral one, like Rivender War Rider, that gives you the other 3, and you win from the death rattle. Again, it's not a paladin card, but I haven't won a single game because of it, even though I've had it in here like the whole time. So that effect you have to obviously build around a lot. Not that we haven't built around this effect anyway, but no, I totally had the quest one in here, and then I just gave up on it because I didn't want to bother having the quest and like rubbing in my face that I actually won't be able to summon I was gonna say it again, Galvadon. I can't believe they did that thing where they gave like every class a Galvadon hero. Right, a hero card for that expansion. That feels so contrived. Come on, don't rope on turn 1, dude. I'm already half asleep.
That's right. Feel groove.
How can you be playing such fun, exciting decks and still be so half asleep? But it has nothing to do with the game itself. Okay, clearly not a bot. Clearly a good player. Or maybe that is the whole point. That's my principle often. Like, I would say the same thing about myself. That, you know, it's the reason that I'm so good that I choose to use this, because wink wink, clearly, because using normal decks would be too easy, so I have to make it harder for myself.
Speak to me.
Okay, what do we got here? You obviously don't want to do that. Actually, not much I can really do at all. I mean, that was going to take 2 hits no matter what, so Riggs, you would have like traded in there or something. Okay, but no, these expansions always release at like the same time. Like, I'm playing Magic and we just saw Bloomburrow come out, and then we obviously see Perils in Paradise came out, so they're on sort of the same system. But why do I feel like one lasts a little bit shorter or longer than the other? I felt like almost Magic's lasted a little shorter. A lot of thirst trap potential in this one too. Like with all the whatever, they'll give you bikini pics and bait you into buying some skin for that reason or something. They would always have those with like League of Legends, right? Where there are certain ones that are a little sultry. Because this is clearly what drives the market of an in-game economy. Okay, so you got the environment. And this is 3 paladin random secrets. Here's a friendly minion. You can just go ahead and do it. And of course, even I don't know what they are, so let's keep them a secret even from myself. Redemption, hidden wisdom. After one of three, plays 3 cards in turn. When they summon something, these are pretty basic, but not bad. And so it's a case where I guess I don't have enough dust to even make the one that I was talking about. Like an all secret deck, like have 30 secrets just total, and that's your whole fucking deck, and see what happens. But and a lot of them wouldn't even trigger or be valuable because of the simple fact that I forgot. That happened to me the last time I was almost falling asleep in Hearthstone. I can't remember exactly what it was, but like you get in this state where you're almost like other normal people, where you're not actually thinking, or you don't have like an internal monologue. You're just kind of mindlessly saying or doing shit, which is kind of how most people are normally. I'm role playing as a quote unquote ordinary person. Right, so we can trade in here and then use consecration, or I could do wild pyro. Yeah, I'd love to see the win because of that, but it's just not that easy to do. Yeah, redemption right back, that's perfectly fine. We might just win this in a more basic outright sense that doesn't even matter. Or he's gonna pull out Shutterwalk or some shit. Or that in itself will deal 2 damage to everything. Then I can hit that stupid ass blood drinker thing. And then I can basically go face. I mean, this should be an easy win regardless, and I don't even have to wait for the BM sort of condition of, oh, I'm gonna win with the 4 horsemen. Like, I don't even care. There's no hard rule that says I absolutely have to do that, but it might not be that hard to do though. Maybe I should, just for the novelty of it. We didn't just win last game, we won it because of Galvadon. Or again, if they resign, you can't control that, but bro is trying to sleep, Gambit. Just actually to put me to sleep because of how long you're taking.
Storm is in me.
The storm is in me, what everybody says when they have Taco Bell. Okay, what do we got? Or fuck, I cancel out the other thing though now. In doing that. Alright, that's still perfectly fine. Again, I'd like to win on the win condition, but it's going to be virtually impossible to do that. So many games like that where I could win anytime I wanted to, but I wonder how many people actually play the Warcraft TCG though, because you know, it doesn't seem bad by all outward appearances. And I had maybe some of the cards, although I don't really remember it. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see some of these secrets with that one chick who like, oh, every secret triggers twice, but some of them almost don't make sense how they would work then. So I have Beardo and I have the capability to get the coins here. Oh, no, we have to save that one, of course. You should just kind of let the game resolve itself of its own volition, because you're able to be like, okay, if I'm good enough to win, then that's fine, but I have to make it harder for myself somehow. You need one more. No, you have everything. You have it. If I just do it like, even when you win, it's not satisfying to play against a bot or like a low rated opponent even. You know, he'll deny me the willingness to. He'll deny me the ability to actually win because of my condition here. So now it's over because you can summon the guy, right? Summon the Beardo, so you're down from 10 to 7. Then summon one of them with your hero power, so you're down to 5. Then add one from the coin. Okay, let's see. You go like this, you go like this. Don't really care about even that. Okay, that's fine. Oh, I forgot to. Fuck, how did I fuck that up? Now just in the spacing it's gonna fuck up too. It should have almost been a feature that if you try to over summon stuff, it doesn't just block off the board. You can summon it, but then you'll just have to destroy and replace something. Right, if you really want to do that. The ultimate BM is just where you deny me of actually doing anything. But the joke's on you because that went exactly as planned. You shouldn't have summoned the totem either. You should have tried to cuck me totally. You know, this animation is always nice to look at. So we still get another month of playing Paladin. We get to keep seeing this shit. And we get to keep seeing the same deck. And we tried out Galvadon for maybe the first time ever. Okay, see you tomorrow. Okay, so today I'll continue playing as the 4 Horsemen deck until I lose, just sort of in keeping with this permadeath. Not that I'll always do that every episode, because sometimes I might just never lose for a super long time, but that last episode was kind of short and unsatisfying because I'm always like half asleep when I play Hearthstone for some reason, maybe just because Sunday is more suited for that. So I made the new deck Galvadon, and that was able to it's kind of bugging out there. I made the new deck for Galvadon, which has a whole bunch of other shit in there too, where like it's rewarding you for only using Paladin cards and not having any neutral cards. So we like won one game with that and then lost, and then I won one game with the 4 Horsemen. So that's all I did. It was like 3 games. Some of these can go on way too long, and I have this pet peeve where I hate to resign. I hate to concede, so I'm used to chess terminology, resign. But yeah, I hate to do that, so I like to just play it out till its end, but then again, sometimes I can just waste time. That happens a lot in Magic the Gathering, like where I know I'm going to lose because my deck's just not that good or I'm using some gimmick, but then I basically just waste time by not conceding because I want to see it play out, and that's kind of part of the fun. Even if they win, okay, let them win in some cool way, but you know, I had that expression like, I'm not BMing, I'm just trying to achieve my gimmick.
I will fight with honor.
And one thing that's weird that's been happening that I can't figure out for the life of me is I sort of somehow bypassed it yesterday, but I have this bug on OBS where every time I use my Ethernet to try to stream, my Ethernet's working for everything else, right? Just downloading stuff, uploading stuff, everything else is fine, and it seems to be fast, and you know, everything's okay. But then when I go to use it on OBS, it keeps crashing, so I have to use Wi-Fi. So I'm using Wi-Fi now even, which it doesn't seem like it matters that much, but it may fuck up the VOD or something, but there's really nothing I can do about it, so. And it's not even like, oh, it's my Ethernet cable or something, because it's at both places that I've been doing it. It could be almost my computer. I should try it on my other computer. Because then that might show me if it could be this, but then even if that's the case, there's nothing I can do because this is my main computer that I use. I guess I could go back to using that other one, but you're holding another 2-cost card. Okay, that's a little inconvenient. We'll just go with this one for a little bit, and then if I lose, I'll stop, or even if I don't, you know, I only have so much time, and then I'll do Magic the Gathering, which is my Monday category. It's not like anything I stream is super like high-end anyway, but I don't want it to ruin like other series that I'm doing. But there's, again, it's just irritating. It's showing like 0 drop frame, so you would assume that it's actually doing pretty well, but there'll be some sort of subliminal issue with it, like it'll still fuck up the quality of it even if it's not, I don't know. Yeah, it's still better than streaming on the mobile hotspot that I was doing before. Imagine that though. I have like 3 internet connections that I potentially use in different places, and none of them, and I can't get a single one to fucking work on a proper, I guess I didn't try the other one, but no, maybe I should try my other computer, because I can't imagine that, oh, it's the Ethernet, but what are the chances of the Ethernet in 2 different places at the same time? Right, it must be something then just with the computer, which I couldn't understand exactly what it is. Let's see here. You want to do this for the coin, but you also, your highest cost card would obviously be Uther, which means I would be almost set with respect to, you would be set with everything. In fact, you would have even the adequate number of coins. You might just need like one more 1-cost card. You need either 3 coins or 2 coins and a 1-cost card, right? Like a secret or whatever, right? And that typically works pretty well. It's annoying how many of these players seem like bots, but they might not be. It just seems, you know, they could play like that, or they could just have bad cards and be a relatively new player, but I don't know how much of that you really get in this day and age. You can get rid of this, or you know what I'm going to do, because I miscalculated there, is if that dies, then I could overdraw, but there's nothing else I need, right? I'm already set because I have the 2 coins, and I would have Uther, right? That would be my highest cost card, and that, so this is one of those that always does synergize with this from the new expansion, right? What are the chances of that? Just that, you know, we always get something. There might be nothing else in the game quite like that. There's something that gives you, the one guy like Talon Fordring or something, that gives you your highest cost minion, but it doesn't give you your highest cost card, and it's even a paladin card. So like I do have some fortuitous timing that sometimes happens with this, where, you know, you get exactly what you need right when you need it from the expansion.
Looks like I'm here just in time. Smoke ya.
So now I will overdraw, and the only thing I need more is like 1 more coin or 1 more, like a 1-cost card, or I just need any turn where one of these gets to stick, which is maybe quite possible, right? They'll ignore it because it's like, oh, it's only one of them. There's, you know, what are the chances they're going to summon all 3 next turn? But I will fall like 1 short otherwise. Isn't that weird? I'm at bronze rank 5 in 1 episode of this month. Or wait, what is today? No, it's the 2nd episode, I guess. But I got to bronze rank 3 in the entirety of last month. But I guess it's because, maybe, well, it's because I start the 2nd episode and then well, first of all, I can't play with her. Like, I start with a new deck and the 2nd episode, so it'd be like the 14th of the month, and then I spend the whole 1st episode just building the deck. So it's understandable because I only play for like 2 episodes then. This is good. You've set all attack and health of enemy minions to 2/2, which is actually not even that great here, but I'll still do it. Okay, that's perfectly fine. And then, you know, between this and the other carry-all effect, like, how does that interact with each other, right? I'm sure I've done it, but immovable object does, you can't take more than 2, and then that 2 will also be reduced by half, I guess, so it'll be 1. That is pretty crazy. I mean, it's already good enough on its own, but those effects are kind of very similar to each other. So I'll even end up doing this, and then I'll still do him right after that. You're just doing it for the 5 armor and just to flex it, and you should pretty much win this on the spot because you have There's nothing I even really care to do with that because I'm just going to deck out. Or the problem is, there is one thing that I'm missing, is that I'm not going to be able to play all 4 of them still. I have to wait for, I'm just going to be anxious about my drop frames. It seems pretty good. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's not that big of a deal, but it seems bad when you're playing online games, especially. Or the one format it might fuck up is like my Saturday thing where I play stuff like I've never played before, so it could be something it could be something like where it won't fully capture that, because that could be something really high end. But mostly all the other categories I do, or even like Smite, it'll fuck up me playing Smite on Wednesday in a permadeath gauntlet because that'll crash or disconnect and I'll lose because of that, and that would count. Like, imagine the kind of dumb shit that I have to put up with. So we'll go ahead, we'll do this, but I'm not entirely sure about the 1 extra coin that we're gonna need. But it's not like this game is very competitive anyway, right? These people are just clowns.
Just make it.
Yeah, I always forget that you can't even attack necessarily after you do that. And the reason why is because the ability takes up basically the attack. But then the assumption of all the Titans is that you're just going to be able to use 1 ability and it's never going to stick around. But again, against an inferior, stupid bot deck like this, you're not going to have to worry about it. This is the whole problem too. I don't care about the rank. Like, I'd rather get my ass beat by a legend player than to, you know, have to do this, because it's just not even fun. What's the point? Even though it makes it maybe a little more fun because my decks aren't that good, but I'd rather go against a player with a bad deck than a bot with a bad deck, or even a player with a good deck, or a bot with a good deck would still make it maybe marginally more interesting. But I don't even see the value of this, though. It's like, it's just stupid, right? When even a shitty deck like this, right, it's just not fun, because you feel like either their deck is so bad, even if it is a player, or the bot is just so bad itself that it's just not fun or satisfying. Which sort of shows you the psychological element of some of these, you know, just multiplayer games in general, that, oh, it's only, you could do the same exact thing with the same mechanics, the same decks, cards, you know, same heroes, characters, champions, and like League of Legends, whatever. But because it's against another player, you have like that egotism that, oh, look at me showing off against somebody else. Whereas if you did it against a bot, it wouldn't be satisfying. Or if you know, if it was a single player game, it wouldn't be satisfying. You'd have to get something more out of it. So it's like a design shortcut where developers sort of take advantage of the egotism of, you know, I won't have room, will I? Because we do have basically the, and again, it's like I always say, oh, it's not BM, it's just I'm playing for the win condition, but that doesn't count. I'm playing for the gimmick just to try to get my whatever, achieve my gimmick of my deck, which is usually not a win condition, meaning that you would basically do it in such a way that, this is so sad though to have to do it like this. You might not even be able to tell the difference. I have a kind of a bad time judging it. Maybe when I watch back, the only thing that happened bad was that I did it on Thursday. This is how long it's been happening. I did it on Thursday, but then Friday it wasn't an issue. I'm so confused actually by it, but basically it just crashed maybe once when I was playing like WoW, but Cataclysm throwback thing. But other than that, it doesn't seem to be a big deal. Just doesn't make fucking sense. But it's such a, I love these sort of super specific issues. Like, it won't be, you know, oh, if something just doesn't work at all, then okay, you know, it's something major. But it'll be like one thing works but not another. Like your Wi-Fi is working but not your Ethernet, but your Ethernet is also working, but it's only working with other things, like, you know, downloading, uploading, anything else besides OBS. Paladin mirror matchup. But yeah, look how long this still takes though. I get impatient. I go, oh, I want to get to silver just to whatever. It doesn't matter, but let me get hard stuck at silver 10 instead of anything else. Like, what was the old school version of that? Let me get hard stuck at rank 20. If you're using like a gimmick deck, it probably was further than that, but it would be like, you know, rank 20 to 25 is like you can't lose rank, so you're guaranteed to get through it no matter what. But you would still have to play a certain amount of time. We already have 2 out of 3 coins, so you see how busted that is to just start with it. So I need 1 more coin, and then I need Beardo, and then I need the other dude, Uther. But obviously Uther you can get from the one guy who gives you your highest cost card. Imagine me using Order in the Court briefly before I use that card from Perils in Paradise, because I said, you know, oh, that'll reorder my deck from highest to lowest, so effectively give me Uther. But this guy's so much more convenient because you don't have to fuck up your whole deck to do it. I'm gonna kind of keep putting myself in this overdraw territory. Now we already would have Uther and 2 coins, so we need 1 more spell, right? Basically 1 more coin and the Beardo himself, which there's no easy way for me to get Beardo unless you say that'll be my lowest cost card too, but that's unlikely because, you know, I have all these other 2 cost guys that give me the coin if you have another 2 cost card and stuff like that. That inscription around the coin always reminds me of like the One Ring or something. I forget what this even is in universe. Like this is some goblin whatever. You could say, oh, it's just a normal you know, form of currency like a gold or something, but it looks kind of so specific. It's like an exact reference to something. That could be a whole series that you do, like Lore Expert analyzes every card and explains the background of them. But the sad part with that is so many of the cards are just bullshit that they pull out of their ass that's not even a real thing. Or it'll be like, I'll go to like 1030, so I'll do whatever unless I lose, which it doesn't seem like any of these decks are posing that possibility. You know, you might think, why do I always start these on the 2nd episode of a month when it comes to like switching to a new class or deck? Because the first episode tends to be like super hyper competitive, so it's maybe unfair and I get destroyed, right? Because people are, well, but then again that addresses the whole issue of like, oh, I'm playing against a bot or something that's in a bad way. But the point is that
For justice.
the point is that you're basically able to you'll do that on the final episode. So you would start, like, let's say the first Sunday of the month is on the 1st. So I would play on the 8th, and then I would play that for the whole month and then I would play the next month's first Sunday too with that same deck. And then the second Sunday, then I would start the new one. So it ends up being the same thing. You still end up playing the first day possible, the first Sunday of the month, with each deck. It's just that you play it the second month, not the first month that you start. But of course with some of these I end up going for 2 months anyway. But what I've done here is, again, I'm playing the same class and I'm even playing the same deck, I guess, as you can see, but at least I'm giving the other deck a chance. So I'm introducing it and kind of rotating between them because it didn't really feel satisfying enough with respect to the simple fact of being able to them holding on to this guy maybe for too long, where, or even I'm acting like, oh, I couldn't possibly lose, but I'm pretty fucking low actually. I have so many defensive things in here, like the fucking you know, both the hero cards will give you a certain amount of health, you'll get the 5 armor, you'll get the 5 lifesteal, you'll get the carryall, you know, all this kind of stuff. But I don't have any of that right now. Even this can delay things. Paladins can be a lot more annoying than I give them credit for, actually, because +2 won't be enough to actually kill it, though. That's fine. Is that smoking like supposed to be from? That almost reminds me of the Mask when he says that. I am pretty fucking low and I can't, you know, you have to be careful not to use your coin in certain situations, like that. I'm already 1 coin short. So either, again, a coin or 1 cost spell would do the trick, but the point is that you can sometimes get away with what I did last game if you just have one thing already out there. But no, I think the infestation of bots at this low level is really taking the fun out of it, even on this gimmick level, even though I might just be about to lose to them. You really shouldn't, though. This would be okay. You'd make them all 2/2s. I kind of want to do this, but it won't even kill them. That was the thing. This would have a couple rushes in there, right? I always forget if the other one has rush, but it should. 2-cost card, 2-cost card. So whatever this is, it'll put it at the bottom of the deck, right? Or you could even get the coin from the thing itself. If they cast a spell, but again, you do run into a danger of overdrawing yourself and burning stuff a little bit too much. So let me try to rehash. I'm just going to be obsessed with this the whole time. On Thursday I did it, but that was in my other setup because my thing wouldn't work. Then on Friday I was at this setup, but it did work, my Ethernet. So I thought, oh, it must be only that setup. Then on Saturday I did it there, but I had to use the same thing. I was using Wi-Fi, I think. Then Sunday, I was here, and it did it at first, but then I reset it, and then it did work. So Friday and Sunday gave the impression that it would work here, and then the other... Oh my fucking god, what is going on? Now, do I assume he doesn't have any way to hit face, or do I just... Well, either way, I can just do this, like...
The light's justice has failed.
You know, you'll heal a certain fair amount. Between the armor and the heal, you know, it's highly unlikely a paladin would just be able, they could have some crazy buff, but like that Dino Man's here, there's something even better than that, right? They give like +10/+10 or something crazy. Both cards you like never see. It like makes something a 7/14, but realistically, of all the classes in the game, a paladin is the least likely to do this much damage here this fast. And again, look at the shitty decks we're going against, but look how I'm still almost losing to them. It's just a pure health issue. And again, I want to win because of my win condition, not just overall, but either way, we're a long ways from it. Just do this, and then trade in, and then...
I will not forsake you.
Right, that's still a taunt. It'll still reduce the amount of damage you take. Or I'm fucking stupid. I should have done that first. Like,
Open your minds to the light.
whatever. Get rid of that. Do the Blessing of Kings guy. Guardian of Kings. I'm making a lot of misplays even, but again, who cares when you're just playing against bots? There is like the relativity of means thing that I wish people would understand. Like, sure, you can metagame and optimize and try to play the best decks, and to a degree, you know, I've done that too in the past. But at a certain point, you realize like everything is relative to the deck. So it's like the deck is 95% and the player impact is 5% or something. You know, the deck has a much larger role, and then it becomes a very minute gradation. Like, okay, whether you're Legend or Legend rank 1 with a Legend caliber deck or something, you know, becomes a whole nother factor. But the reality is that I actually don't have enough coins though, so this is kind of like taking a chance. But the point is that the amount of healing you get from that is not to be understated. So don't do that, because wait, is her name also Zola? That is like Zola the Gorgon? Is it maybe somehow the same character in some different fucking... Could just be two characters with the same name, or I maybe just misread it. I'm very bad at paying attention to card names because they don't really matter. Or I just come up with some stupid nickname. I should make like a compilation of all the nicknames I have. Like the Spectral Knight is the name dropper. That's one of my favorite nicknames because it's like he's name dropping Kel'Thuzad and the Witch King between his battle cry and his attack. Or even when he dies, maybe he does one. He's acting like he personally knows them or some shit. You don't even have to do anything else there. And again, I love this whole aesthetic of it, but it's not exactly the most fun gimmick, or arguably it's not even a gimmick at all, because of the simple fact that you have it's too much of a compelled win condition or outcome. Right, which, again, even if it's not good in this day and age, or maybe there's better ways to do it, just sort of stall the game out more where you almost guarantee it to happen. But even if it's a win condition of any kind, right? You might say, oh, well, some of these other decks, if you get the gimmick, you're probably going to win, but that's not always true, or it doesn't automatically make you win, though. Like, oh, I'm going to do Lord Thamar and elusive buff stuff, right? I'm going to buff all my elusive minions, but even if I do that, then it doesn't mean that you're going to win because of it, right? You'll see, oh, look, I have a 15 or like a 10-18 Sogot the Slither. That's cool and that's fun, and I have all these other elusive things, and so everything is immune to spells and everything's being buffed up, and it makes it even harder to deal with than usual. So that's a great example and one of my favorite type of gimmick decks ever that I've done. But oh wow, we're certainly seeing that in uniform. I've still never gotten full confirmation on that, but you would always assume it. But then see, what if somebody just chooses to use that card back, right? Like that proves they're a bot because it's a gear, but a player could just use it. I could just use it to troll if I wanted to. You know, you should give them a better variety of decks and cards, even if you are doing bots, because you know what I mean. It's like the same illusion that they try to give with Kamala Harris doing that fucking AI altered photoshopped image to make it seem like her crowd's bigger than what it is on like the tarmac or something. I just love that with the double standards of stuff. Like, things will be pointed out, right, whether by the media or people on one side, like, oh, look how they lied here, like Republicans or Trump or somebody, and that's fine, that's a good thing. But then, you know, that you're pointing it out, but then on the other side they'll just ignore it, or they'll glorify the same thing. So I hate that double standard. Like, even, oh yeah, Trump is old and that's a bad thing, but then what about, oh, but it's like Biden wasn't old, but now you're gonna try to, you know, use revisionist history to say, well, it's only bad when they do it and now it's a big deal. I just hate that selective ignorance. Man, I'm getting really unlucky with the whole bot feel of situation. Like, I want to feel like I'm going against an actual good player, good deck, whatever, and then I can still win sometimes. And even, like, it's pretty satisfying. Like, I almost had a win against, like, one of those billion armor druid type things, right? Where they summon the bees and they do something. I forget exactly how it works, but I could almost beat that with this deck because, again, it's a win condition. So for once, none of my other gimmick decks would be able to beat that unless you just beat them before they get to do what they're doing, which is usually not going to be the case. But here you can just bypass all that. That's the fun part of the win condition element. But somehow I didn't get to do it because they kept, like, decking me out with naturalize and stuff. So the banana thing is in there almost as a meme. Right, and it almost takes up too much space and everything, but again, only one of them would work. Using 2 bananas is always impossible because mathematically it won't be enough, right? You'll have 10, then it goes down to 7 for Beardo, then it goes down to 5 for the first one, the first hero power, then it goes up to 6 for the first coin, then it goes down to 4 for the second horseman, then it goes up to 5 for the third horseman with the coin, then it goes down to 3. Wait, whatever. The point is, you can use one cost card. I always fuck up the math on that. The brain of a chess player, where I have to calculate fucking countless moves, and this is what we get instead. Or can we calculate something basic in Hearthstone? So you get the coin, you would get Uther from this. But yeah, I mean, obviously they could always silence this, but generally I assume that they're not going to do that. I guess what's the worst case with this? Maybe just the recording will fuck up, but if it's showing 0 drop frames, you would assume everything's working fine. Right, unless it crashes. That is just the most weird thing I've ever seen, though. It's so oddly specific. And it even was sort of baiting me into thinking it's something else, like, you know, oh, it was only happening there. Right, but now it's happening here, so now I have no fucking idea what's going on. So now I actually have the win condition already, for the simple fact, see, even if it was a better player, and they were putting a little more pressure, it's turn 7 and I already have the win condition. I just have to wait till turn 10 and I win, right? It's just that simple. So even if they were putting more pressure, I was a little bit lower. I guess what it would do is it would force you to use some of this stuff suboptimally, like, you might have to use a coin just to survive, or you might have to do something else, but you know, you wouldn't be able to play a banana play just for the fuck of it. An off-curve banana play of Banana Buffoon. Like, where does this guy exist in World of Warcraft? What is his presence in the lore? Right? Like, you have to justify everything lore-wise. So you can use one of these anyway. And I don't really give a shit. But no, you got to look at it relatively. Like, use a gimmick deck or some other, you know, whatever, random deck. And be like, you could be the best player in the history of the world, but you can only go so far with that deck because the deck is bad. Or you could be the worst player in the world, but you'll still get pretty far with a meta optimal deck. So then it'll be just a minor difference. So that's what I don't like, is you realize the means of it is the defining factor. The deck you're using, right, is far more impactful than anything else. It's not to diminish people who play at the highest level. Like, obviously that's still really hard, right, to be legend rank 1 instead of just legend rank 5,000 or something. Like, that part I can respect, but at some point it gets repetitive and boring. Although I should try to do that at least once, but I always get bored when I, you know, of playing the same deck over and over for a certain period of time. Like, I could be, oh, I'm making misplays here, but it doesn't fucking matter. Like, I already win, and these decks are so shitty that I'm going against. But talk about the bottom feeder effect, but at least let it be a bottom feeder against actual players instead of a bot. And yeah, this could be in there just to clear out my own deck, or my own board, because I end up cucking myself with the... But you know what, I forget... You know, I end up not even having enough space to put all these 4 horsemen. But the one that I still haven't won because of is the Rivendare War Rider, and that's still in here. It's not like I took it out. I've been totally cucked in my ability to actually ever play that shit. I came close one time, but then I guess I didn't have room on the board, or I couldn't kill off my own thing. Like the last of the 4. But again, that's not really meant for paladins. I'm just doing it for the simple fact that, look at me, I'm doing the 4 horsemen, and I'm actually doing the 8 horsemen, and I'm, you know, acting like, oh, maybe they'll synergize together or something. But now you wouldn't have enough mana to actually do this is the problem. Right, and the reason why is because you would have to do the... In fact, it'll fuck up my space again, but no, I could do it. Wild Pyromancer into the... I should be able to do it now because... Look at this, we're going to mill him out by the number of times we're going to use the Wild Pyromancer. I have to make sure I don't do it first. I don't know exactly what's going to happen, or I don't even have to do it at all. I could just, you know, do it like this. Wait, do I not have Beardo and I was just imagining it? Oh shit, I'm not even paying attention. I'm just assuming that I have Beardo. Your other minions +2/+2, that's fine. Yeah, they should be 4/4s anyway, because there's 4 of them, like some little internal number gimmickry that they often do and stuff like that. 6 mana, 6/6. That has to do with Warlock, so it's like a satanic thing that somebody will clearly get offended by and fucking steal the game for, which I always say that in Smite. Like, these are real gods. If that's not an oxymoron, I don't know what is, but these are real gods to the extent that, you know, what if you still believe in Greek gods or something, right? You can't offend somebody's religion, or some of them are, you know, like, isn't like Ganesha in there or something, like the Hindu god and stuff? So wouldn't this potentially offend people that you're using their gods in this exploitative gimmick sense that you're able to no sportsmanship for the Hall of Fame CPU is the proper phrase for this moment, like where you're trying to BM and get your gimmick against somebody who isn't even a player. So I'm just doing it in principle, but this has been a little bit boring to the extent that, you know, you may be winning, but it doesn't matter, right? But I guess I'm winning and getting my gimmick, so there's nothing more you can ask for aside from it being a little more competitive. This is like the nice place to visit effect, where, you know, oh, if you win all the time and it's against the bot and it feels like it's all scripted, rehearsed, then it doesn't mean anything. Like where the guy's going to the casino and winning every game because it's scripted to happen.
No peace, no rest.
And he's getting all the girls, but he doesn't feel like he's earning it or whatever. But then there is some interplay with that, like, oh, you know, it's gonna be, maybe we can do one more. Like, you could pretend and role play it like, oh, let's make it difficult for you so I can make you lose sometimes, but then you know you're setting it in advance, so. Yeah, just remember that sort of means argument that I always try to show to people in the past, is that everything is just relative to the resources that you're using. So like, if you have, even in a real world sense, like, oh, this general or this conqueror is somebody, you know, if they have better technology than everybody else, right? Oh, the only reason why Genghis Khan did this, not that he really had that much of a technological advantage, but whatever. If he had better technology, like the British Empire, for example, right? Oh, they had better technology, so of course they may deserve credit for that, for being ahead of the curve technologically. But you know, it doesn't mean that, oh, they're using the best strategy always. It just means that their means are so much greater than the people they're conquering that it's sort of a no contest at that point. So, yeah, that's the perfect analogy for what is a mere card game, is just to say that, again, because you're using better decks doesn't mean you're a better player. But it's amazing how much I just totally don't keep up with even the current expansion, or, you know, give a shit about anything to do with it unless there is some fun gimmick little to grab out of it. Although I was thinking towards the end of this, for some of these other classes, I could try to do something finally meta, but it wouldn't matter because, again, given the amount of time I play, it's very hard for me to do anything anyway. So this whole monthly basis is very difficult, actually, for like what you would call a casual player. If you just play a little bit, even if you play an aggro deck, and even if you played a little bit more, it makes it difficult to feel like you could ever get anywhere. You know, it's not a question of like, oh, could you get to legend? It's a question of like with that deck or whatever. It's just a question of you wouldn't even have time. Even if you won every game, right, you wouldn't play enough games in that amount of time. So I'll be the world's first person to get through the entire book here. Like, it almost gives you that illusion that you could. This is the book that Jaina was reading that drove her insane and made her kill all the fucking blood elves in whatever, Dalaran. Which is an event that I wasn't even playing during when that happened. I think it was in Cataclysm, I'm pretty sure. Or it might have been in Miss Pandaria. It was somewhere where Garrosh was causing all kind of trouble. So here we get to just basically do nothing. Why do I even have the Brewmaster in there? I guess I could flip the coin back. One of the people that gives you the coin back to get another one, or you could flip one of the horsemen back to, which I don't know entirely how that works, because now that that horseman is in your hand, you might get the same one again from the effect, right? It doesn't guarantee that you get a different one. I don't know exactly how the rotation works. Like, is it always in order that it summons them? Or does it reset if you return it? Or I haven't messed around with that too much. You already have, like, too many coins. Like, you don't even need this shit.
Have enough mana.
Right, like, now my only issue is potentially burning cards and, you know, you can play into that now. You'll just fuck up my hand by playing a couple cheap spells, and then I'll end up burning Uther or somebody. Or that's really all I need, though. Because, you know, I still have the 3 coins, so all I need is Uther, that party clown who's going to give me my highest cost card, which obviously is Uther. It's amazing how well that actually works with us. Like, it's just meant to be. I'm somehow doing exactly, you know, the gimmick decks that suit with some new card, but it's obviously just dumb luck. Yeah, don't do it again, or it doesn't mean I'm gonna draw Uther either, but Oh, that's how you know. I had a moment where I said that. Oh, you know it's not a bot, and you know it's a good player because they're using Vile Spine Slayer in 2022 or whatever.
Iris, you fold.
Reporting for duty.
There's nothing really that I even care to do here, but I'm gonna end up losing because I'm just not getting Uther in time. Although I wouldn't, so you got to play him and then wait a turn and then you can finish him off. It's not like playing him is gonna be when you win. And there's still never anything that really wins you the game against like there's no anti-hero card type of mechanic. And you might think, you know, I'm not saying it would just destroy the hero, although I guess the one warlock card that destroys a demon and gives you 5 health, I'm pretty sure that still works to destroy Jiraxis. Or if there's other, I'm not sure actually, if there's other heroes that are considered demons, which could be true even of a demon hunter, or it could be true of other warlock ones. Even Galvadon as a warlock seems like it would be considered a demon, but the point is that there would not be much of a standard with respect to...
I can't do that.
Fuck off. When one of your minions attack, you can give it Divine Shield.
I can't do that.
Put something on the bottom of your deck. Okay, we'll do that to try to get the Rivendell War Rider, even though maybe I would have rather have that. Deal 3, okay. What was I saying? Like, you're gonna be in a position where, yeah, maybe that, like, there is nothing that addresses or acknowledges hero cards really in any effect, which is surprising after all this time. Or, you know what I almost speculated they were doing until they added the Death Knight Headless Horseman hero card, right? Even though I'd kind of asked for that, I felt like, oh, Death Knights kind of deserve one, and they should get one, and they should get like level 100 hero portrait on the roar track, which they obviously they do now. But those are two things that you were kind of waiting for. And the third thing I'm waiting for is the Ner'zhul in the armor as an avatar. But the reality is that you're in a position where I could play all the coins to give him coins and just try to deck his hand out. Wait, I thought I got rid of that. It's a case where you have, what was I saying? You have a case of,
Sneaking on board was a bad idea.
oh yeah, it seemed like they were phasing out hero cards from standard where they didn't want to make any new ones and they just wanted to kind of forget about the mechanics. So almost all of them were about to rotate out probably of standard, right? They're all pretty old and they haven't made too many new ones. But then they did the Headless Horseman Death Knight one, and then, you know, now it makes it seem like they might still keep that mechanic alive. But, you know, you could say it's a fun mechanic. I like certain things about it, but it makes it feel like those cards just simply have too much impact. Speaking of an example of that, now if we get Uther, we could still win, like the very next turn. But this thing would have to die, and then I could trade in and play Uther on like the same turn though.
Raise the stakes.
Iris, you fold.
Predictable.
Oops, I should have done that in the opposite way. I'm just assuming like I'm just gonna win now, but they could almost just kill me. They've got 2 plus 8, 10, 12, 14, so I'm probably just dead. Now I would have to play Uther, and then I would have to survive another turn and then do it. Too many of these plays are greedy to try to get, you know, like you're doing that to try to get Uther, but it's not always going to work like that. You're not always going to have the luxury to do this. So this at least doesn't seem like a bot deck. Although, whatever, it might not be that great. I would have just gone face and they almost could have just killed me.
I'm 7.
Holy shit, dude. What was that one we saw the other time where like it was a shaman doing that? Oh my god. Where now can't you, oh, I guess you could still do it with the same one. The good thing I have all these extra coins, but it might still mess me up. Like the shaman had the shutter walk for Okani where he would just infinitely have a shutter walk with both of those effects on it at the same time. So realistically I'm pretty much dead.
The lights
And I don't know what I'm going to do with this, because it would seem like I would win, but I don't know. He has 2, 4, 6, 12, 10, 12, 16, 18. Right, so I could kill one of them, and then I could play one coin as a bait. But then I need one more thing that I'm not going to have. So I'm actually going to lose because of that, apparently. Right, because I'm not going to have enough actual shit. Unless he somehow didn't counter a spell, but I don't know why he would do that. Or one of these secrets could fuck something up too, but... I'm getting hard countered by Okani between that shaman and this. Like, I would have needed... Unless it counters that. Like, does that count as a spell? You would basically just have to go for it. I mean... You'll be like one coin short. Oh, shit.
Fall by my hand.
What? But again, if I had summoned a different minion, I would have lost anyway, because... Oh my god. Whatever, we fittingly lose with both of them, so this one lasts at least a little bit. But yeah, I'll mess around with the Galvadon one, and I'll maybe see if there's something else. I almost wanted to make one to do with secrets, like, you know, just a deck with 30 secrets, and just fucking every, 2 copies of every paladin secret in the history of the game. Because there's just so many now, it becomes sort of bloated. Or you could do that with respect to, have a mysterious challenger thing, but there's a limit of how many secrets you can have, obviously, active at once. Otherwise, it would just be over the top. Or it almost should change that, where you can have an infinite number of secrets, or you can have some legendary that has an effect. Battle Cry, for the rest of the game, you can have more than the maximum number of secrets.